Chris and I have been super excited about this thing we've been running all week, where we're asking our audience to send in their first issue they ever got. We use the hashtag MyFirstComicCBC. Please, audience, keep continuing. Send them in. We love seeing this thing. We love seeing what started your passion and your love for comics. We had a few entries here that we'd like to share right now before we get to our entries. So first on the list, we have Weapon X Squall with Amazing Spider-Man 351. This is an issue, I do believe, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, it started Mark Bagley, the artist, who's well known for Spider-Man and also probably helping create Carnage. It started on his long run, and he's had an amazing career within Marvel Comics. I'm not familiar I'm not sure if he's done any DC work, but that's a great book to have right there, especially the verse. Like, I know he did a few issues before, but it's the first run for a long run.
Right. Yeah. When Eric Larson left, to go join Todd and Rob with over at Image. Yeah, Begley came on, and I mean, he ran with it. And then, of course, he was the inspiration behind the Ultimate Spider-Man. That I loved the Ultimate Spider-Man run, and he, penned that whole series. And I love his work. My son loves his work, and I mean, he helped be the brain behind Carnage. So,
yeah,
much respect due there for sure.
For me, he's up there because he was in our the years that it was really impressionable in terms of obviously for me, I feel like McFarlane was one of the most impressionable artists of when I first started collecting. I feel like Bagley though has had that kind of he's been there for so long. He was drawing Spider-Man for so long, and I feel like he deserves, he may not be up there as high as McFarlane. McFarlane has a huge fan base, but he's definitely, one of those. He should be known as one of the great Spider-Man artists because he had such a fantastic run. All right, next up, we have Genome Presents with his West Coast Avengers number 16. A Tale of Two Kitties. What's that? Hellcat and Tigra. Man, dude, I loved me some West Coast Avengers. I absolutely loved West Coast Avengers. I had that issue as well. It's just, it left an impression on me in terms of first starting my comic book collecting as well, and to see somebody else, a fellow collector, that his first issue was a West Coast Avengers a book, it makes me feel good. That's kind of a little teaser of what's to come in terms of what I'm going to be talking about. And finally, we have this one's fantastic. This is sent in by 64-page special, Superman versus Muhammad Ali. This issue is an absolute classic. I mean, I'm not old enough, and I believe, Chris, you as well. It wasn't like we weren't searching for these issues, but I mean, look at this issue. I'm not sure if you can see it on the cover here, but you see, I mean, there's Jimmy Carter right there, former President Jimmy Carter. You have a lot of other celebrities on the back as well. Neil Adams cover. I think Neil Adams drew the interiors as well. Just a fantastic issue, and it's good stuff. 64-page specials, good stuff on that. And Chris, I could just see it in your eyes. You got something to show us, don't you?
Well, I mean, it's special to me, But are you ready for it? You ready to see what I got?
Yeah, I'm ready. I just see it in your eyes. I know you got something. The guy who has 16,000 comic books in his collection. Go for it.
Well, here, it's a story of, and I was asked this on a live stream that I did on my channel about a week ago. If you could just grab one comic, knowing that the rest of your comics had to get trashed or whatnot, if you had to hold on to one comic, what would it be? And I picked this book, and not because it has value, but monetary value, but because it has value to me. So I remember being a kid. I was probably 4 years old in the 80s, and I was in an Alpha Beta supermarket. I don't know how many of you remember Alpha Betas. But I would go to that store with my mom. I was sitting in the cart, with your legs dangling in the little seat. And what I remember is, I do believe we were going up to the register, but I know it was a spinner rack. And I saw this book, And I grabbed it, and I don't remember the details after that, but I just remember my mom bought it for me, and I brought it home. And it is, and this is the original copy. It's all beat up. It is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Adventures. Basically, this is a soft cover with your standard newspaper print pages, but what it is a flat spine Random House collection of the Archie miniseries, 1 through 3. Now, I don't know if you guys can see, but it is beat up. You can probably see all those, what I call finger crinkles. It's beat up. It's ripped up. I did there's a word search in here that I did. And you know, the fun thing about this book is that when I open it up, and this may be weird, but you know, how old books have a smell. Every time I take it out of the bag, I can smell the year or the time I was there at 4 or 5 years old reading this book, and it just brings you back. And as an artist, this book is one book that I started copying and drawing, and one of the first things that I ever drew was Ninja Turtles. And I would flip to a page here, and I would find a picture of the Ninja Turtles, and I would have my paper next to me, and I would copy it and draw it. So this book just means so much. And like I said, every time I read it up, the nostalgia, or I open it up, the nostalgia, reading the story again, it just brings me back to being a kid. And yeah, it's not about monetary value. If I had to lose all other 16,100 and something books in my collection, I would hold on to this one. And that is without question.
That's amazing. That's an amazing story. And I need to apologize because I saw you digging around and I thought you were digging for a Muhammad Ali versus Superman. I'm like, no, he isn't. No, he is not. Because we were supposed to do Chris's last because I already kind of spoiled mine on Instagram. But that's amazing, Chris. That is absolutely amazing. It kind of sets you not only on your comic book journey, but also as an artist too. So that's really, really special to hear. Yes. Okay, so for me, I have a similar type of a story. Growing up, I just attached myself to Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. It was the cartoons. I think it was Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends that I really attached myself to. And he just became the guy I wanted to watch or get the toys and just be around all the time. So I don't know when I got this. I probably was maybe 6 years old, but my parents got me my first comic book, which was this Amazing Spider-Man. It's an the detergent special giveaway. I've kept it with me ever since, and it's really old. But this is what kind of set me on my journey as well. And I'm really, really, it just brings back memories going through it, just as Chris said, just looking at these impressionable. It's a reprint, I think, of a Ditko story, Stan Lee and Ditko story. But you know, going through this book and opening it up and smelling the pages, it just brings you back to that moment you first saw it. And it's something that I will cherish forever. I will not get rid of it. And it's a sentimental value to me is, nowhere near any sort of monetary. So, but that being said, I have a 2-part story here because I didn't start collecting because of that book. I started collecting because I got these 2 books from a friend in 7th grade. By the name of Keir Alexander. It's Mr. Johnson's science class. Mr. Johnson was he was a Marine, just a hard-nosed guy. He would, if he catch you chit-chat with your buddy, he reprimand you, and his phrase was, "I will bust your little butts." And we were just like, oh my God, this guy's going to kick our ass. But anyways, Keir Alexander and I sat next to each other, and one day he just turned around and he's like, "Hey, take these comic books." And I was like, absolutely. First one is West Coast Avengers #1. And that kind of goes with Genome Presents and his West Coast Avengers 16. And then I also got from Keir X Factor #1, which this set me on my journey. I started collecting on the regular every week. I had to pick up my new comic books. I had to go to the local bookstore that had the comic book rack spinner and buy my books. That opened the door to everything for me. Obviously, I started collecting Spider-Man immediately, but these 2 books just had to start collecting on a monthly basis that became weekly basis. And, it's something that I love, and Chris and I love talking about it. So that is my first comic CBC. Maybe we'll do it again if you guys all enjoyed that. I did. Did you, Chris?
Absolutely.
Great.
I told the story multiple times. I'll tell it multiple times more.
I mean, it's something. It left an impression. Like, it's not going to go away from either of us. So, anyways, we want to hear your stories. So please tag us. My First Comic CBC. Tag us at Comic Book Canon on all social media. We'd love to hear your stories, and maybe we'll share it in a future episode.